it's important, I think, to have a dream, or several dreams, and have them going all the time. And when you do the 4 honors, which are honor the source of the dream, honor the commitment to the dream that says, I'll do this, and then honor the process that the commitment leads you to, and then honor the success by celebrating at the end. If you do those 4 honors, your dream can become your story. And then what your story is as a projection of who you are, and it is perceived by everybody that comes in touch with you, in contact with you. They read your story. We have this gift of a sensory perception of reading the stories around us. And sometimes we read somebody and they need our encouragement, they need our love, they need our support, and sometimes we read them and they have qualities that we need, and so we're drawn together. But your dream becomes your story, if you have one. And then if you don't have a dream, then you have nightmares. And if you don't have a dream, you don't have a story. So there isn't anything for anybody to read from you, to give back, or to get, or to assist, or to groom you into becoming and doing what it is that your dream is about, so that you can celebrate, and that becomes your story. A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. That's the lyrics from a Disney song. And it was Jiminy Cricket who said, when you wish upon a star, it makes no difference, I love that part, who you are. All your dreams can come true if your heart is in your dream. So I would ask you to think about a new year and the best you that you can be in this new year, and be in touch with your dreams, and then make a commitment to them, do the work to make them happen, and then let that become your story. So this is, I'll do the talking, you do the dreaming, but please, dream with your eyes open. It's helpful to the speaker. So, and I wanted to share with you how this process works. Remember that I'm the messenger, and you're the one that receives the message and does something with it. And in talking and sharing my message, it might sound that I'm talking about something I did, but I have to talk about my story that was at one time a dream in order to give you the information so that you take your dream and turn it into your story. So my story began on my 59th birthday. That's October the 4th. I'll be 90 in October, but not this October. And when next time somebody asks you how old you are, you tell them that you'll be 90 in your birth month, May, June, whenever it is. And they'll just look at you, and they'll either think that you have a great little sense of humor, that you're mentally deranged, or that you're having a lot of fun with them, or that you are projecting your longevity into your 90s rather than just leave it up to an undecided destination. So on my 59th birthday, I was sitting in we have a gym in our house with weight equipment and a weight station and a couple of treadmills. And I had done my morning exercises, and I was thinking, it's my birthday, and I'm 59 years old, and a year from today, I'll be 60. And that's a milestone birth year. So, and I knew that evening, my wife, Virginia, was going to take me to dinner, and then a couple of days later, we were going on a little Mexican Riviera cruise on Carnival. And but I knew that in a year I would be 60, and there would be a big blowout celebration, and Virginia was going to invite 70 of our closest friends. That's 35 gifts, and that we were going to have a catered meal and a little combo that plays music, and there's plenty of room on our patio for 70 people plus dancing. And so I was thinking, wow, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I also said, now, this was the dream, and this was the knocking on the door of my heart of the inspiration to have the dream and to do something. And so I was paying attention to this. I was honoring the source of the dream, and that's the number one step. And my source is always God's spirit of guidance and love and support and the push that I need. And so I was honoring that by dreaming and playing with the dream. And so I asked, somehow the question came, okay, so what is this 60th birthday party going to look like? And I said, well, I would like to appear in something new and to have an extra effervescence and happiness all around me and be in the best shape of my life. And I would like for my guests to say, you look great. You don't look 60. And I understand. And then this inspiration said, well, how could we push this a little farther than just that pleasantness? And I said, well, then let's say that all the guests say, since we're dreaming and there's no limits here to the dream, let's say that they say, oh, and I understand that you now are blanking. And I wish I could blank, but you're really doing a great job of blanking. And I thought, well, now what goes in that blank? And I thought, well, if you'll pick up and move along with this dream and be committed to it, you'll find out what's in the blank and use something for you to look forward to. So I decided at that moment that I would honor the dream and start in making that year, my 59th year, the best year of my life. So because it was birthday time, I had a doctor's appointment, and that was to measure everything. He measured my weight, my blood pressure, and when the blood tests came back, the cholesterol and all that stuff. And so we had that in writing. Then I went to my hygienist to have my teeth cleaned. I do that more than once a year, but that was for my birthday time. And while I'm there and she's working on me, she does all the talking because I'm just sitting there with my mouth open. And she said, oh, I just had the best weekend, and it was so much fun. I ran a race, and it was 13.1 miles, and it was a half marathon. And it was, you get up, and I said, tell me more. So she said, well, you get up early in the morning, and you go run, and you get a number, and you have a shirt, and all that stuff is included, but the money that you pay for the race goes for some kind of a cure for some ailment that's bad. And she said, then when it's all over, you're there with all these other people, and you don't have to hurry or run or nobody pushes or shoves. It's all real happy, congenial people, and you run at your own pace, and you train before, and you just feel so good about it. It's just a wonderful feeling. And so when I had a chance to rinse, I said, well, how do you find out about these races? And she said, oh, well, there's a running shoe store, moving shoes, down the street, and they have a Race Place magazine, and it lists everything. You'd be surprised how many races there are. So I finished my appointment with her. I was getting in my car to come to work here, and I said, I need to go get that Race Place magazine at the running shoe store, and someday I'll. And then I realized that, do you know about Someday I'll? It's beautiful there. It's surrounded by water, and it's gorgeous. Nobody's ever been there because it's someday I'll. And I said, no, this is not going to happen. I'm going right there. It's just 2 blocks away. So I didn't, and I was honoring the source. So I went, and I had already put my goals in writing, including a blank for the blank. And when I left the shoe store, I had a new pair of shoes that were on sale. And I had the Race Place magazine, and I came back to my office, and I entered my first race, and it was 13.1 miles, and farthest I'd ever run was 5. But I started running, and then I told my kids, who were in their 30s at the time, early 30s, now they're almost 40. I just said, I've been doing that, and they said, well, Papa, how far have you run all together? And I said, well, I did 8 miles about a week ago, and then this week I did 10 miles. And they said, and this is 13.1 miles? And I said, yes. And they said, do you carry identification when you run? I said, I'm not going to go in a bar and have a drink during the race. And they said, no, it's like if you fell over. I said, I'm not going to fall over. So I continued running 11, 12. I got up to 13 miles just to practice, just to know that I could do it and live. And so then I did the race, and it was just a lot of fun. And I got the number. I went to the expo the day before. You get your bib number. And then I got my T-shirt. Those T-shirts cost like $80 or $90 a piece. But then I knew that the money that I gave after I crossed the finish line and got my medal, that money went for the cure, to lead to the research for the cure for whatever ailment that the race was sponsoring. So it was just like the hygienist had said. I knew just what I was. It was a wonderful adventure for a lot of people, and it was just very satisfying. Well, in the meantime, back on the Carnival cruise line, they had a spa lecture, and I went to it, and they told me how, because I was inspired to go, because I was honoring the commitment. I said I was going to do it. I was running. I was taking care of being responsible for what I had to start with. And then the running every day and thinking about my diet and my eating plan and everything else. And so I was guided to go to the spa, and they had a fat test to tell you how much fat your body has. And they do this with the little electrodes that they put on you. And it measures through the amount of water in your body, how much fat there is there. And I found out that I had between 25 and 30 pounds of fat that was just jiggling there, waiting for me to do something with it. And I thought, I'm not going to lose this, because if you lose it, you can find it again. So I said, I'm going to burn it, and I'm going to cremate it. And sweat is fat crying. So I was and I knew how much I weighed, and I could document this. And I gave myself a year, and this is important because I say this often. It's in my book that did go fast like a turtle. It was the tortoise that won the race. You want to move ahead slowly but surely, picking them up and putting them down like that little tortoise did, instead of flitting around and thinking, overestimating yourself like the rabbit did, and not regarding the time and the focus that it took to move along slowly but surely. So I did all that. And at the end of the year, Virginia took me on another little cruise, and we flew to Hawaii, and then we came home on the ship. And they had a spa, and they had a lecture, and they had a fat test on the spa. And I lost 25 jiggly, squishy pounds of fat in that year. It took me 365 days, and that's 2 pounds a month. So that's not anything drastic, or a half a pound a week, just by exercising and watching my diet. And I had my doctor's appointment because it's my birthday time. And he said my cholesterol, my weight, my blood pressure, and when the test came back from the lab, everything was just highly improved. And he said, "This is unordinary. You know, I don't see this often. What did you do?" And I told him, and he was really happy for me. I was happy for me too. And then I had the birthday party experience, and it was exactly 365 days later that I went to the party. I had on a new outfit, a shirt and a pair of jeans, and I saw my guests, and they said, just like in my dream, "You look good. You look healthy. You don't look like you're 60 to me. And I understand and instead of saying blanking, they said, "I understand you're running now. And I wish I could run." And so I was just real happy that all that happened, and I felt that I was responsible for it happening, but I gave the glory to the source because that's where it all started. And then I wondered, what would have happened? What would I have looked like? And what would my story be if I hadn't dreamed or welcomed the dream in the first place and honored the source? What would have happened? And I think that if I hadn't honored the dream, or it had flown by and I didn't catch it, that I would have gone to the party jiggling with the extra 25 pounds of fat and no history, no story, and that would give me a legitimate reason to be unhappy and mad at myself and just mad, unhappy, disappointed that I didn't answer the call. And so here's what I would like to, thank you for your patience of hearing my story, but it started with a dream. Now, let's talk about your dream and your story. It starts with a hunch, an idea, a nudge, a picture in a magazine, a commercial on television, or something that pushes your buttons to say, you could do something about this, you could have this, you could look like this, you could be this kind of person. If you trained yourself, you thought about it, you put it in writing, you agreed to it, you said, yes, I'll have this, I want this. And then the source, God, Spirit, the Christ indwelling, the universe, whatever you call it, now would be a good time while I'm going to keep going on here, for you to stop for a minute and say, what do I call it? What is your name for it? And then say, well, then when what I call it knocks, I'm going to answer. Because when my source knocks and I don't answer, my source then I don't open the door to my heart and it doesn't come in. It doesn't go away, but it's not in my heart because I didn't open the door and welcome it in. So it's just waiting. It's in limbo. It's just waiting for me to open the door and let the dream begin to be my story. So it's very important to open the door, let the dream in. And if it's been years since you've had a dream, or months, that you've had a dream and it's enlivened you. When we sang our hymn this morning about the joy, and I see people every once in a while, they don't even know the meaning of the word joy, much less haven't felt it in a long time, because maybe they're so busy pumping the gas, getting the dry cleaning, going to the store, finding a place to park, and paying the bill and putting the stamp on it, getting it to the mailbox, and just all of life's routine, mundane things are taking all their time and interest, that they don't have any room for any dreams, and they don't have any room for any joy. And if you will find your dream and welcome it into your heart and start working on it, being committed to it, all that other stuff and the consumed time that it seems to take will vanish as far as pressure and time go and be out of the way, because your dream is more important, and you fulfilling that dream is more important than doing all that busy work, and it will take care of itself. And you will be amazed, and you will have joy and happiness and results because you're living your dream and making your dream come true. So honor the source when the dream comes. And if we're talking about this at this moment, or you're hearing it on a tape at this moment, or a CD, and we're stirring up the possibility of a dream coming into your heart and mind and life, then you've got to watch out, because one will show up in the next few hours. And like mine with the running, I thought, could I do that? Could I run 13 miles? You know, could I find the time to do that? Who, me? But if once your dream comes and you let it in and honor the source, then it starts to grow, and it starts to help you find ways to make it your story. So you honor the dream, then you sit down with a piece of paper, you put your dream in writing. I have my goals in writing with me. I have them all the time. I fold them and unfold them. This one's about to fall apart. They're on my computer, so I can print up a new one. And I have my goals and dreams for the 7 areas of my life: the spiritual, relationship, physical, emotional, career, creativity, and financial. And then I always add an in-depth goal. When I know that I'm going to be at a very long goal light, I read these. When I'm in the supermarket, instead of reading the National Enquirer and all those things, I just get so upset when I see all those people gained all that weight back, or they're broken up, or they're having all these. I worry about those people. So it's just best for me just to take care of something that's right over my heart that I can manage, and invest that time, because I mean it about this. I'm serious about this. And it's right there in front of me, so that all the other things that could get there in front of me and take my time and block my view are not there, because this is. So you put it in writing, you have it right in front of you. And then you kind of set a loose timetable, giving yourself plenty of time. Like, since this is early in 2015, what if we had a year to come back and meet here with all kinds of accomplishments and blanks to fill in? And then and also on your list, you note how you're going to celebrate, what it's going to look like, who you're going to share it with, and who you're going to thank at the celebration and the sharing. Then you honor that. This is the third honor, is to honor the process. As I was running, I was realizing I was jiggling less. My bones and ligaments and arteries and veins and heart and lungs were getting stronger, and that my breath was better. I could breathe deeper, and I could run farther, faster, with less effort. And I thought maybe, and hopefully, this was sending blood that was aerated because of my lung increase to my brain, and helping me make better decisions, think more clearly, and have less fog in my thinking process. So I was honoring the process. And when I was able to put my belt in one more notch in my belt, that was a mile marker that I was really happy. And then when it came to my celebration, every time I finished a race, that was a celebration, because I was celebrating donating resources, financial resources, to a cure, increasing my health and stamina and my longevity, because I want to live a long time, so that I can just see what's going to happen to all the people that are trying real hard to make a difference, and to all the people that are interfering with the good flow. I want to watch them get it. And then I've got I want to live a long time to see, and also speak at a lot of Unity churches that I get to do all year long. So that is truly a celebration. So what I'm hoping to inspire you with this information. The source, and you know the name of your source because you just figured it out a few minutes ago and refreshed your connection with it. Your source will give you, in the next few hours, some phenomenal dreams that can become your story. And your responsibility is to not ignore the source and keep it out, but open the door and let it in and say, tell me more. How are we going to do this? What would this look like? How would I celebrate? And then as you and the source dance through this idea, then it can become yours to own and to have and to hold and to demonstrate. And then you put it in writing what your goal is. You get a loose but available time schedule, and then you know how you're going to celebrate, when, where, who you're going to invite, how it's going to be, so that you can keep an eye on that when stuff happens that says, oh, not today. We were not. Oh, no, I've got it. I've made a commitment. I've got to do what I can do today, and because I have this end result. And then if you'll keep that end result, then that'll keep you motivated. And then the source, this is the best part. This is the very happiest ending. This will give you joy. The source then says, this child of mine is doing all he or she can. I've got to give them all the support I can. And when they finish this job and they meet this milestone, I'm going to help them with more. I'm going to send them more pictures, more hunches, more guidance, more information. I'm going to fix it so when wherever they look, they're going to see something that's going to help them along, because they're on their way and I'm not going to let them down. And when they finish this, the source says, I'm going to be able to give them even bigger dreams to turn into bigger stories. So let me show you how this works. If I can pull this off. You honor the source. You put your goal in writing. You do the work. You honor the process. And then you go to the end of the race and you collect your medals. That represents hundreds of miles, but it also represents the power of the source to give you the dream. Let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Father, we give thanks that you are our source, that all our dreams that have ever come true, or all the dreams we've ever dreamed that are on hold, have come from you, and that we're partners, that you dream the dream and push it through us and use our arms and legs and brains and hearts and bodies and lives and histories and consciousness and objectives and shortcomings and blessings to craft something really beautiful that you have inspired in each of us. So today we commit to honoring you as the source and to opening the door as soon as you knock. And then by focusing on what the dream is and how we can make it our reality and turn it into our story. And we visualize the end result and see ourselves vividly stepping over the finish line and feeling the sting of the string snap across our chest as we've entered into a new story and more possibilities. And as soon as we cross that line, we can depend, Father, on you knocking with another dream to create another story. For you creating this cycle of life that leads to joy and health and happiness and being all that we're created to be. For being the creator and the source, Father, we give thanks. In your name, amen.